Yes, people. Thanks for joining again. We're live for Ep.8, views from the Skywalk. I'm joined by today guest Jack. Jack, you'd like to introduce yourself, man? Thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Yeah, it's just THFC Jack, for part of Touchline Fracker, Touchline Hotspur, Spurs _ Touchline. So yeah, seems more depressing.
Yeah,
Spurs.
man. Thanks for joining us. But I guess I don't know about you, but today I woke up. I was. Usually I calm down the night after, but it just didn't sit right with me the way that we turned up for our biggest game of the season. I thought that was shambolic. Like there's no other way to describe it. I thought first half terrible. Jay's already gone.
There's going to be a lot of this, isn't it?
There's going to be a lot of this, and do you know what? Like he deserves it, innit? Like what he had. I don't think he's had a single good game yet. Fulham.
We started with him straight away, yeah.
Fulham, Palace. I don't think he was that great, but from the first half, terrible. Even in the first 5 minutes, I was in the group and I was saying like, this is not looking good. Sat so deep in our first half. You saw the average positions, and then nothing changed in the second half until we got a red card. Then we started to go on the front foot, and then it was just the same old story, man. Inviting teams on to score, same players making the same mistakes. It's either Sanchez or it's Doherty or it's Erik Dyer, and it's just that was uncomfortable to watch, man.
I think I speak for all of us when I say we was happy with the lineup other than Doherty. But at the same time, yeah, I'm thinking, like me and Ash said in the preview, we wanted to go there and play attacking football, play on the front foot, like we've been doing in the last few games. And Jose put out that side to play attacking football, but he's played on a low block. And that confused me, innit? Because he's got Bale right wing, but he's playing with a low block. So it left Doherty exposed for the whole game. Emil Smith-Rowe and Tierney were 2v1 on him the whole game. They're not tag team. Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy in their prime.
Honestly.
It doesn't make sense. Like, literally, we know Arsenal go through that left-hand side. Tierney's been doing everything for them on their left, right? So you nullify that, right? You nullify their main attacking outlet by putting in a competent right-back in Aurier. And even dropping into Sissoko there as extra cover. Do that, you can get them, and then you can have Højbjerg staying in that middle rather than have to drift out wide all the time.
And you know what? Yeah, that's a good point, because that's something I wanted to touch on. I'm not going to criticize him. Although I felt Højbjerg had a bad game, I do feel that he's been in many games this season. He's put in standout performances, but I thought yesterday he was getting dragged out wide. He was trying to cover for people. He was trying to recover the ball in positions that he shouldn't have run in. And I remember like Thierry Henry was saying years ago that Pep Guardiola would go absolutely nuts if players are running out of their positions to get involved in the game. And that's something Højbjerg was doing yesterday, and it created spaces in midfield. I thought in midfield, we got absolutely bodied. Xhaka and Partey, yeah, they made us, like everyone on Twitter is laughing at Ndombele. He's a meme right now, yeah? Him and Højbjerg just were like, I honestly feel that if we set up the right way with the right tactics, it's a match for match. They're not that bad as how they were made to look on Sunday. I just feel that so many areas, like Matt Doherty, for example, yeah, every single time someone tries to take him on, they beat him. Every single time. There's not one time he gets the better of his man. He made Tierney look like Roberto Carlos yesterday. Let's like. Oh man,
I feel like player for player, yeah, we definitely got a better team than Arsenal. And I think the big debate is whether it's the manager or the players. And I don't know if you, man, I think it was Alistair Gold said that.
I heard that.
Mourinho and Sacramento are shouting for the players to press, and I didn't see no pressing. So if that's the case, if the players ain't listening to the instructions, then there's bigger problems than we thought. Because does that mean they're giving up on Mourinho already?
They've done that with Poch as well. The instructions were clear. Obviously, he wanted to play a pressing game, and obviously they weren't doing it towards the end of his tenure. And it just goes to show a lot of these players, they get burnt out from doing it year in, year out. And at some point, this is where everyone's connected. It's the players, then it's the manager, and then it's the board who haven't replaced, or started a rebuild or whatnot. There's no signs of a rebuild coming anytime soon. A lot of the deadwood is still there. A lot of the players that didn't want to perform under Poch, they're doing the same thing to Jose, and I think it just needs a massive reset all the way from the top to the bottom.
100%.
And the thing is, like you were saying on the Poch that they stopped doing it. Like what I feel is when you have a team, and we can say the same thing for Man City and Liverpool, when you're drilled and your whole game plan is constantly high energy, high press, you cannot maintain that for such a long time without constantly refreshing the team, bringing in new signings, bringing in new energy to the team. It happened with Man City. They played that way for 3 years, won multiple titles, dropped off for 2 years. They had to refresh the squad. Certain players couldn't keep up anymore. They didn't have the legs. I felt with Pochettino, we never made those additions. So that meltdown was inevitable. It was going to happen. And right now, we just don't have an identity. We just don't have a way of playing right now. Some games it's attack. Some games it's high press, pressing in numbers. Some games it's sit back and counter attack. I just feel that the players just look confused on Sunday. Even when they had the ball, no one knew what they was doing.
Yeah, I agree with Toby. Sorry, bro. Just to cut you quickly.
Yeah,
I agree with Toby still. Like, I don't think. But the thing is, like Ash was saying as well, it's like 1 week we turn up, we play attacking football, high press. Might do it again the next week, and then like we saw yesterday, is back to the old Spurs sitting back like we've been doing for the start of the season. You don't know what Tottenham's going to turn up, and I don't know why that is.
Yeah, that's down to what Toby said, coaching or lack thereof. Yeah. Literally, you don't. If every manager has somewhat of a philosophy, and Jose it's just a mishmash. There's no structured coaching in terms of patterns of play, moving the ball forward. He's even gone against his own sort of philosophy in the past few weeks, and no one just knows what their role is. No one knows what job to do. No one knows how the team should be structured. I do get the pressing thing. They should be pressing. Like on that's on them, and they are at fault for that. But then you have Jose himself,
especially with Arsenal, because every time they come up against a team that presses them in numbers, they have players that panic on the ball. They've got their defenders, Xhaka. Like every time I see Arsenal come up against a team where they're at them in numbers, they struggle. And I just look at like Kallum saying, player for player, we are much better than them. Like we should have given Saka and Cedric. He walked off that pitch on Sunday thinking that's probably the easiest game he's played all season. Yeah, we should have been using someone like Reguilon, who's so good going forward. I just don't feel like the team was set up to see the best of players like Reguilon. Reguilon should have been all over Cedric, causing problems. Cedric wouldn't have been able to deal with him. And the one time we do what we was doing well in recent games, we scored. Bale switched the ball out to the flank. Lovely first-time pass from Reguilon, and Lamela, brilliant finish. But I'm sorry, but Lamela let everyone down yesterday. What?
100%.
The thing is, what I don't understand is, there's VAR now in football. You can't get away with things like that.
Yeah.
Bro, it was such a stupid second yellow, man.
Oh, my God.
That game sums up Lamela to a T. Like, he scored a great goal, fair enough. I mean, I think people are giving him, like, it was a lovely goal, don't get me wrong. But like I said on extra time, man, only Donnarumma because he's got no right foot. That's the only reason, innit? But then, I mean, he had a good game when he was on, but it's just stupid tackles, isn't it? That's what he does. And then that little, like, the flailing arm, it's so blatant. And like you said, they've got VAR as well. I don't know why he thought he could get away with it, or even what the need was. It was like by the halfway line, he had the ball. Why are you doing that? And at the same time, he's one of the few players what clearly know what it means to play in a derby. Because what disappointed me the most is we're playing against Arsenal, our biggest rivals. A man didn't turn up. What more motivation do you need than to beat Arsenal?
And that's the problem. The one player that has turned up for a derby
is too much. Yeah, exactly.
We just can't have both, can we?
And everyone's like, a lot of people are criticizing our attacking players, but I'm looking at our average positions in the game. We couldn't have expected them to have done anything in that game because it was just lethargic from anyone. No attacking player was really deep, was really stretching out of our own halfway line. Like everyone is saying, no, this guy didn't turn up, Kane didn't turn up, Bale didn't turn up. It's like they wasn't getting any service. No one was trying to create anything. And you know what a big problem is, yeah? I know a lot of people love Højbjerg and Ndombele together, but I'm yet to see against a top 10 side where we've really dominated midfield. I just don't think that those two together have it in them to dominate in midfield. That's from what I've seen in it.
I think the only time that was probably done was probably the 6-1. But other than that, yeah.
And obviously they was down to 10 men in that game.
Yeah, but I think generally, it's a strange one because they've both had good seasons overall in that double pivot. But the problem is, I think Højbjerg has had his best games alongside Sissoko, who is covering the flanks, and that allows Højbjerg to stay in the middle and utilize his passing game as well, sort of breaking those lines and breaking up play as well. And Ndombele, again, when he's a bit further forward and when he has less defensive responsibility, that's where he thrives. In a game like this, where he's going to have to do a lot more running off the ball, play with a bit more intensity, that's not his game. So, unfortunately, we have to facilitate that. And he had a poor game. And
he was shocking. He was absolutely shocking.
The only man that can leave that pitch with their head held high is Lucas. And I know that's your boy, Ash. So I know he was pleased to see that. But
do you know what? Like, I wasn't like, the thing that alarmed me is, in recent games, we've seen Lucas pressing, high energy, right? Now, Alistair Gold's comments said that Jose was on the touchline, and not just Jose, João as well, was on the touchline screaming, press, press, press. Now, someone like Lucas who does that, presses like a headless chicken, he wasn't even doing that. So for me, I don't even know. I find it hard to believe what Alistair Gold's saying, because why is someone like Lucas not even pressing? He didn't play with midweek, so it's not a fatigue thing. He's there, fresh, week off. Like, I just feel that the way we approach the game was wrong. I thought we was going to come out second half a different team, and it was literally the same. Like, people are saying that the Son substitution changed anything. Did it? Did it really? I don't think it did.
No, the last 25 minutes when Son was on the pitch, we was at the worst in that 25 minutes. No intensity.
I can't argue
pressing, hardly any. I think Arsenal had 75% possession in the first 25 minutes. And I know we're used to earlier games in the season having less possession and still hitting on a counter-attack. We didn't have no counter-attack. Like you said earlier, Ash, there was no service to the man up front. That's why I can't sit here and say Kane and Bale had shit games, because they wasn't getting no service. There was no one in the midfield giving the ball to them, and that's usually Ndombele's role. And for whatever reason, he wasn't doing it.
It makes you wonder why were Kane and Son playing midweek as well, which contributed. Yeah. It did contribute to.
I don't know why both of them started that game
and played for so long as well.
Kane basically played 90.
Yeah, he was only taken off because he was injured. He took a knock. It doesn't. I don't know what. Is he prioritizing the Europa? Is this what he's doing? Are the players sort of been instructed to, keep it, take the pace off in the Premier League games and, build up the intensity again in the Europa? I don't know.
That's honestly what it looks like. And if that's the case, it's wrong, because if we had beaten Arsenal, we go to Villa with confidence. If we beat Villa, 29 games played each, we're level on points with Chelsea. We're 2 points behind Leicester, and we're 3 points behind Man United. So for me, in terms of getting Champions League, they're both still good options. Top four is still there. Yeah. I wouldn't say Leicester are guaranteed to get top four. Look at their manager. He's got a history of bottling it. Yeah. I can't. We're not like Arsenal. Yeah. Arsenal's best way of getting into the Champions League is winning Europa. We're not in that position. So we shouldn't be doing this. And I said in a group chat today, I think Jose's man management of our players, Kane and Son in particular, and Højbjerg, has been poor. There's been cup games, both FA Cup and Carabao Cup, and certain Europa League games where they shouldn't have been playing. And if you play our reserve players like Vinicius, who he was crying out for last season, and all of a sudden he gets one, he doesn't play him. We'll come on to that later. You play these guys in these kind of games. If they're not doing well, then I can warrant bringing on the big guns, because the proof's in the pudding. We can't beat these teams without them, then bring them on. There was no need for Son and Kane to start against Zagreb. No need. Zagreb were terrible. I'm confident, as as controversial as this is, I'm confident we could have won that game with Bergwijn starting that game. I don't think there was a need for Son to start.
Tanya's not going to agree with that one. But no, I feel like...
And the sad reality is now, for a lot of fans, including me, that Bergwijn is going to have to come into the side now. Because who have we got? Who's going to replace Son? Has to be him. It's going to be him.
I ain't heard nothing about Son's injury, but it's a hamstring injury, so he'll probably be out for like four weeks.
Yes, it's going to be minimum 3 weeks. Yeah, let's be realistic.
That's a big blow, man.
If it's a little sprain, it's going to be 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks.
And that's more goal contributions lost because let's face it, Steven Bergwijn. I have money on him like blanking the whole season. You know, he's whack.
I can definitely see that happening. A man can't even score in the Europa against Farmers.
He can't. If he can't do that, then when is he going to score? Because the opponent's not going to get any easier.
That's my issue, and like I don't want to hear anything about game time. He's had ample game time, 16 starting games this season, not one single goal. And Sebastian makes a good point here. He goes, "Do you think that's because Højbjerg, is this about Tanguy and Højbjerg? Do you think that because of Højbjerg and Tanguy or because of how we set up? If you place Sissoko next to Højbjerg, he's passing the ball forwards because it's not either of them."
I hear that. I feel like when we've seen Højbjerg and Sissoko play in that double pivot together, there's no one linking the play. There's no one who's bringing the ball forwards like someone like Tanguy or Gio would do. But at the same time, against Arsenal, Doherty was so on his own that I felt like he needed Sissoko in front of him just to cover that little space because Bale wasn't going to do that. We all know that. But what confuses me, like I said earlier, is if Mourinho did set up to play the low block, then why has he played Bale? Even though we all think he deserved to start based off his form, if you know that you want to sit back all game, Bale's not that. You might as well put Moura right wing because Moura will track back, or then play Sissoko to cover him. So I don't understand what's going through Jose's head really.
Yeah, it was just baffling. And if Bale's not going to track back, which he isn't, just put Aurier there, Aurier and Sissoko there, because there's two players that will cover, and you can let Bale stay forward and be more of a threat. In fact, what made even less sense than that was the fact that Doherty was getting absolutely torn, and he still stayed on. And the worst thing is, I wasn't surprised he stayed on. I said at halftime in the group chat, Doherty's staying on. There's no chance he's not going to come on.
This is a fact right now. This is a fact. We shouldn't have to accommodate our team on how bad he is.
Facts.
A big problem I had with Jose is against West Ham, I thought first half Tanganga, I thought he had a brilliant half. He wasn't amazing, but defensively he was solid. For no reason. He gets dragged at halftime. He brings on Doherty. Doherty makes a mistake. Lingard scores, So in halftime against Arsenal, why has Doherty not been taken off after a shambolic 45 minutes when Tanganga gets dragged for doing nothing wrong?
To me, using Jose logic, I just feel he's trying to... It's his way of trying to build Doherty's confidence or what have you. But you don't do that by throwing him into the deep end. You ease him back into the side in lesser games. You'd think that would be the case, right? But this manager doesn't think. He doesn't think. I think common sense left him.
Yeah, like you were saying, Ash, I've seen man take off Tanganga, Aurier at half-time when he believes they're not performing. So at half-time, I'm thinking he's got to take Doherty off, surely. But instead, he's taken off Bale to then bring on Sissoko and give man more cover. So that when we go 2-1 down, we've lost an attacking player and there's no chance for us chasing the game.
And this was my problem, is in that situation, surely you leave the attacker on the pitch in Bale and you just take off Doherty for Aurier. That way you don't have to bring on Sissoko because literally when we're trying to score a goal, Sissoko's the last player I want on that pitch. The last player you want to bring on the bench. The last player. He kills everything. He's only good when we're playing low block counter-attack.
Yeah.
It just baffled. And did you see Bale's reaction when he went off? The guy was laughing.
Bro, Bale had all of our reactions. Probably man shook his head. Like what's this about? He's put on Sissoko, and the thing is, cool. Bale wasn't having a great game, but he's a man that's got the quality to make something happen when you need
exactly.
it.
And it's all about.
Ain't got the quality to do that.
And in those games, it's about moments. Bale's someone that can produce a moment out of nothing, and we didn't have that on the pitch. And we started playing like we started playing like something similar to what we have in recent weeks in the 85th minute. And what happens? We get into a good attacking position. I don't know if you guys will probably remember this. Doherty gets the ball, really good position. I don't even know what he did. He just looked like he just kicked it to the corner flag.
Oh yeah. What like the
when I saw that, I was like, I am convinced this guy is playing against us.
He's an agent, bro. He's actually an Arsenal agent.
Fan. Like, it doesn't. It just everything about that was baffling, and it's the same obsession with Eric Dyer, where he kept persisting with him, even in a documentary where he said, Eric Dyer, he's a good player, isn't he? It's like, well, is he?
Yeah, when has he ever been a good player? Even when he was playing DM, he was dead.
The thing is, I remember a lot of our fans was worried about this when Jose came in, because a lot of people obviously knew that he was a fan of him at Man United, and they thought, we're in trouble. He's going to come in. He's going to fancy Eric Dyer. Pochettino would only play Dyer last ditch. Towards the latter end of Poch's career, when we started to get really good, he never fancied him. He never fancied Eric Dyer. The only player he used to try and rotate him was Sanchez, and Sanchez had a good season first season. And I mean, it's like you got a donkey and a clown. Which one am I going to pick? Right? Sanchez is better than. I agree, Sanchez is better, but these same players are going to let us down week in, week out. And Guy Gerrard made a good point earlier on. Yeah,
go on. We
cannot expect anything like. There's not going to be any mass clear out or anything like that we need. Like, we're going to have to prepare for a good 3-4 years of this shit before anything starts changing. This is it. Anyone expecting Ian Ice to spend their way out of this is living in a fancy world. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We know what owners are like.
Yeah, and the thing we have to rely on is Kane, selling Kane and Son, and actually that being reinvested into a system, into profiles of players that fit into a system.
Yeah, you know what? I fully agree with that.
But I don't trust that we'd invest it well, though. If we want to sell Kane and Son, we make a lot of money, but we saw
look at the Bell money.
That's what I'm saying.
Hitchin won't do the right thing.
Look at the Bell money that we spent.
Wasn't that Kamoli?
Was it? Yeah, was it Damon Kamoli? I think it was. But regardless,
we got more examples even in with Hitchin and them, man. And the P's they've spent, I don't trust them now if we was to sell Kane and Son to bring in adequate replacements or bring in multiple players that we need.
Not a chance. Like, if you go back 15 years, you look at this club's recruitment, it's nothing short of an absolute monstrosity. That's what I would call it. Fazio, Kirikez, Nkudu, Benjamin Stambouli. Who the hell would like
NG Janssen? Oh,
Janssen.
There's so many.
Goldado. Like Lamela's a one. Lamela. We signed Lamela to replace Bell. Yeah. And it ended up being that we got Bell to replace Bell. It's been that long that no one has come in and filled his shoes. Like, I really want to know who looks at these players and goes, I'm going to put a case forward as to why Tottenham should sign this player. Who does that? Whoever does that needs to get out of this club immediately.
I want to go back to this comment here. See what we were saying about taking Bale off. We had 2 free kicks from good opportunities in the last 10 minutes. Cool, Kane hit a post with one of them, but we know Kane's not a free kick taker. He's not. Had Bale been on them free kicks there, I'm expecting one of them to go in. But no, he went on the pitch.
The real boy wonder just says, I can take Spurs losing against better sides, but I can't accept poor performances where the team look lost. It's worrying and it's happening too often for my liking. A lot of fans are switching off now. It's facts.
Yeah.
It's facts.
No, on the head. Yeah, that's exactly that. That couldn't sum up my feelings any better. Like, against superior opposition, fine. You can tolerate it somewhat. You can be angry at individual performances, what have you. But losing against a team that's 10th, who won and still remain 10th, this is the worst Arsenal side we've in our lifetimes.
Facts.
It's the worst Arsenal team in our lifetimes, and then you lose to them. You lose to them convincingly with a whimper. They've absolutely battered you all over the park. Yeah, there's definitely things wrong with the dressing room. the players are definitely letting the manager down, but the manager's letting the team down as well, and the fans down. It's just the accumulation of everything.
And this is the problem, and I have to bring this up, yeah? So since we last played Arsenal at home, when we won 2-0, yeah? We played 8 teams in the top half of the table. 1 was in the FA Cup. We've lost every single one of those games. That is a sackable offence in it. If that was any other manager, you're gone. You're telling me that we can only beat fodders in the bottom half of the league.
And even then, we lost to Brighton. Like,
I think he's on 15 million. He's on like 15 million a year, and I've heard that sacking him will cost 30 M's. That's a whole new centre back.
Yeah, listen.
There's no way that's
listen. Look, unless something happens with like a ridiculous naming rights deal, he's going to be here next season, right? We have to accept that. But this is the point. Like, and it's not just the performances. It's the performances in important games. The last 3 big London derbies: Chelsea at home, shocking performance. West Ham, shocking. Second half, we were a lot better against West Ham. We should have started the game. If we started the game like that, we would have won. Against Arsenal, shocking. Like, if this is how you're setting a team up to play big London derbies, you should not be the manager of this football club.
And the thing is, like, yeah, the players were definitely. I think the players had a big responsibility yesterday, especially after reading the sort of Alistair Gold sort of comments or his analysis on it. But at Man United, we've seen the same thing where they're not proactive; they're reactive. Once they're down, they start going at their opponents, and I don't know if it's Mourinho mentally sort of constraining them up until the point of desperation or not. That's what it looks like, and yeah, it's a common theme across 2 different clubs. You know, it's definitely a factor, and I don't think he has the sort of man management skills to deal with this generation of footballers. The last generation, when in his prime, fine, they had different types of parents who are disciplinarians, who, you know, they grow up in much stricter environments, so they could take that sort of listening to your elders, sort of respect that, he garnered that respect. This generation, they're not like that. So you know, you can blame the types of players that are around these days, but the manager has to adapt, and he's behind the times, and he's not.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that
manager.
I agree with what I feel that he's trying to do with his team. It's not going to work because 1, we don't have the players. 2, the game has moved on. Like, in his second season at Man United, Pogba looked average. Rashford looked average. Martial looked average. These are not average players. He's had them looking at. Everyone thought Pogba was done. Yeah. And now look at him. He's arguably one of Man United's best players right now, and they miss him a lot. And Tanya had a good point previously. She said she worries about the midfield going forward. We lack depth in that area. If Højbjerg and Ndombele are poor games,
Gio needs to come back.
Huh? This is what I was going to ask you. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm seriously looking at Ndombele right now, and I'm saying to him, I'm going to be thinking, look, if Lo Celso's fit, I'm going to try him out. I'm going to try out Lo Celso and Højbjerg because something has to improve.
Thing is, yeah, Tongi's been good he's had a good season, but the last 4 or 5 games, admittedly, he's been off the pace a lot. So he does need to step it up. But I ain't calling for his head just now. He's been one of our better players this season. There's a lot of players, you know, your Doherty's, Dyers, who deserve a lot more stick. But like you say, when Lo Celso is fully fit, if that day ever comes, who knows? He's definitely got to get an opportunity.
Yeah. And the thing 100%. Is, like the profile of player of Lo Celso definitely needed, and I think a 4-3-3 is probably the best way to go about things. Højbjerg and Ndombele and Lo Celso. Sort of Lo Celso will run. He will also, you know, play with a lot of intensity. That's his game. You know, that's the kind of player he is. But again, his availability and the quality of Lo Celso, I don't think he has the incisiveness. And the fact that we're missing him dearly just shows how dire the situation is, because he's a good player. He's not an amazing player, but he's a good player. And we're desperate for a good player to come back. It just shows the kind of the situation we're in right now.
I do think, a lot of Spurs fans, I've been seeing on Twitter recently, Spurs fans have been criticising him a lot for his fitness issues, but then also saying that maybe he's not good enough or whatever. But we have to remember that when we had a bag of injuries last season, Lo Celso was a big reason why we finished 6th. Lo Celso in that midfield, he was great in transitional play. And although he didn't get the goals and assists that certain people want to see, his performances were good. And he's the type of player that I would love to keep at our club if he can stay fit. But obviously that's the biggest issue right now.
But he's supposed to, his goal contributions at Real Betis were very good.
They were great.
That's kind of the reason why we signed him. And
why we signed him, exactly.
We need those goal contributions. We can't keep relying on Kane and Son every game.
And the thing is, like, going forward now, obviously, based on Alistair Gold's comments, we don't have hardly anything. We have the only way we're gonna get players in is by getting them out. Yeah. Now, realistically, there's not going to be no mass overhaul at this club. Players like Doherty, they're not going nowhere. Like, it's going to be a struggle. The only players I can see realistically leaving, Harry Winks, Lloris is. I reckon Lloris is going to go, and I reckon maybe Sanchez will go.
Oh, Dyer. Now, if any centre back needs to go first, it's Dyer. Admittedly, I want Sanchez 100%. Out as well, but Dyer and Winks need to be the first two names out.
Yeah,
you can add Doherty to that as well.
Dyer, Winks, Doherty, Sissoko should go, but he has more of a purpose in the squad than a lot of these other dead balls.
And then obviously the thing is, we've got Skip coming back. Yeah, we've got Ryan Sessegnon coming back. I've heard a few times now that Jose's planning a way to get Skippy in the side next season. Well, not to start regularly, but a way to get him integrated into this team now. I just hope to God that he can be someone that we can rely on, because for me, he's going to be like a new sign. He's going to be like a new signing. I mean, it sounds like I'm clutching at straws right now, and that's a good point.
See, the thing about Skip here, good player from what I've seen. I really like him, but I've got a few boys who support championship clubs, and they obviously watch him a lot more than I do. And they've been saying recently that although he does do a couple good things, he gets overrun in midfield quite a lot. So I don't want to get overly excited. They're basically saying he's a good player, but there's no way he can start for Tottenham.
But then you got to look at the football Norwich play. Very open, very expansive. Like that's a championship. It's going to happen. But let's just hope. And then Soups gets a good point. Dele's got to go, man. I'm sorry. I've had enough of him.
I want him gone.
Dele has to go.
Just cash in. You can get money for him.
Ability-wise, it's not there. He ain't got the ability of half of our midfielders in terms of Ndombele, Lascelles, so he ain't got nowhere near that quality. I don't think his attitude is there either. I don't think he's got the right mentality to really want to succeed at this club. Big man, I know you was partying the week of the Champions League, but I know your neighbours, man. I know you was partying then. So, I'm ready to cut ties with him now.
Yeah.
And then another thing, is that we got to seriously question is, and we can look back in history and say this, the mentality of these players just worries me. Like, I was in Clubhouse earlier today, and someone was saying that as a player, sometimes, like, top players, they take control of situations. Yeah, they don't react; they're proactive. When you see the game in front of you, what's going on, you're getting absolutely bodied. You have to have a group of players that will take the game and change it themselves without the manager having to do it. And this is my problem. Jose is not all to blame in this situation, because I just look at it like, as a group of players, how can you just sit there for 90 minutes and let a team like that batter you? Where is your cojones? Where is that in this team? I don't see it. And that's me questioning their mentality.
We had that. We did.
And the thing is, you got some senior players there. You got Gareth Bale, you got Toby Alderweireld, you got Højbjerg, who seems like he's got a bit about him, and they just look like little school kids. They look like school kids.
All the Prem sides, we got the most international captains. You wouldn't think it though, based off what we've seen.
The most what international captains?
Yeah, you got Hugo, I think Højbjerg, Aurier, Kane.
Aurier is not captain. Oh, is he captain of Ivory Coast?
Yeah,
my God.
I think there might be a one other I'm forgetting, but we got a lot of
Serge Aurier, a captain of a football of Serge Aurier, a captain of his country.
I'm like 90% sure in it. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he is.
But yeah, I think part of it is down to, again, you need to refresh, you need to rebuild. You need to refresh, you need to rebuild. It's the same group of players, and doing the same thing all over again. You've got to freshen it up. You need some sort of change. A lot of these players, they're not feeling this playing for the club anymore the same way they were a few years back. I think a lot of them are they're pretty done with it, and I think mentally it does affect you when you do the same thing over and over again. When we were discussing in the group chat earlier, it was like Son and Kane, they can press for years, and if it's not amounting to anything for this time since they've been at this club, they're going to think, what's the point? Why am I doing this anymore? What? At some point, it's insanity. At the end of the day, you do the same thing over and over again, and it's leading to the same result, and that's what's happening.
And you know what? It's a good point what you said.
This is what I'm saying.
I'm starting to believe it now. Yeah, I honestly think, obviously, if we haven't got the adequate funds to kickstart a serious rebuild, I think the best way to do it is to sell them. As much as we say we don't trust them, that's the only thing we have right now. Because I look at Kane and Son, they've been doing this for however many years, 6 or 7 years under Poch since they first came. Yeah, you look at Kane now; he looks like he's been run to the ground. That guy is not going to be playing this high press football. He's playing as a false nine. Doesn't really run too much during the game, but we still see some brilliant moments. But I just feel that he's given us his best years without a doubt. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way for Son, and I agree with you. I think that if we did sell them, it would put us in a position where we've got adequate funds to start some sort of a rebuild. I'm not saying get 11 players out and 11 players in. I'm saying get 6 or 7 players out and get the same amount in. I think that
because
the thing is, right, here's my argument against it. If we don't do that, yeah, we've got very little funds right now, right? So right now, all we're going to be trying to do is we're going to try and sell the players that we need to sell. We're going to try and sell them when realistically we're not going to get that much money from them. So we're going to keep, let's say we keep Son and Kane and we keep adding them with average players, like for example Bergwijn. We're going to be in the same situation next year. If we add 2 or 3 players here and there with peanuts, like if we sign players for 15 million like Matt Doherty, we're going to be in the same position.
I don't think we need to sell Kane and Son. And Kane and Son have been quality this season. They're incredible players, and like I've already said I don't feel like we'd reinvest that money wisely. See if we sell Davies, Lamela, Sissoko, Winks, Sanchez, Dyer, that's at least 100 mil. Dele as well. That's got to be at least 100 mil.
Yeah, with Dele,
getting rid of all of them. Yeah, getting rid of all of them players. That's a decent amount of money. And with that,
the thing is, I reckon like I can honestly see a lot of loans happening, a lot of exit loans, maybe a lot of swap loans. Like I cannot see all these players being sold. Like Dele Alli, I honestly reckon you'll struggle to get 30 million for him. I honestly think that.
See, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do hear that. But then at the same time, for me, yeah, I don't want to be that club I don't want to be known as, I don't want us as a club to be known as Harry Kane never won anything with you. Yeah. I genuinely want that guy to win it all. He deserves it. Yeah. And would you feel happy, yeah, if he stayed his whole career and won nothing?
No, of course not.
No, of course not.
But at the end of the day, like he's getting on. He's going to be 28 in July.
He's 20. Is he 28 already?
No, he's going to be 28 in July.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just feel that if the next time we want to challenge for anything, it's going to take years. Him and Son know that, so I don't see any reason why they should stay. So instead of wasting both their careers and giving us false hope, we might as well sort of cash in and try to rebuild and actually thin out the squad and work. Just invest in the 11 first. We can have a weak squad with a fairly strong 11 next season or the season after, whenever that can happen. But at the end of the day, we're not. It's just we got to get rid of these bums. We just have to get rid of them. We've got to clear.
The bums have to go first. See how much money we can get for them. Try and then build on the squad. And then if we've done that and it turns out we have to sell one of the big players, then so be it. But we have to get rid of the deadwood first, surely.
Yeah.
Because as much as Kane and Son deserve to win something, I'm a Spurs fan. I'm not a Kane and Son fan. I need them man at the club. At the club. Because we ain't going to get many. Maybe arguably Son's replaceable. Kane is irreplaceable. There's not one player in the world, maybe Haaland because he's younger, that I can say I have instead of Kane.
Yeah.
I think players like Haaland and Mbappe, they ain't never going to come here. Even if we sell Kane and Son and spend that money on one of them players, they wouldn't come here.
Yeah, I think Son is. I think Son is more replaceable than Kane. Kane's one of those players that you just have to understand that if you did replace him, you have to significantly lower the expectations on the person that's coming in, unless he's Haaland, which is never going to happen. But I think Son. Do you know what? I reckon one of them will leave this summer, and I reckon it will be Son. If
Son's still not signed his contract.
Yeah, he was supposed to. He was supposed
to sign it time ago.
It was going to happen, and then now form. We hit that awful form, and then suddenly.
Son got his own documentary a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago or so, and he was meant to sign it like as soon as that dropped. I was hearing he was going to sign it a week that dropped, and we was in that poor run of games, and the talk's all gone quiet.
And the biggest problem for me is, there's no identity in this team. You look at all the top teams, you look at all of them, they all have an identity. Yeah, Leicester are trying to build one. Man City, I don't need to say anything about them. Liverpool had one. Man United had one under Alex Ferguson. Yeah, okay, when he was rebuilding, things changed a little bit. But with us, it's just 1 week this, 1 week that. You're never going to progress anywhere as a team. I heard a rumor come out like a couple of weeks ago where apparently it was from Sissoko saying that in training there's very little emphasis and very little focus on attacking patterns of play, and that apparently what the guys are doing are the same things that Pochettino's coaching staff had taught them. Like, how can you manage a team like this? And if you're spending all that time focusing on the defense, and this is what we are producing week in, week out, then something has to change drastically. It's either the coaching staff or the players. Something has to change.
Man United say the same thing. It's literally the same with the play. You know, the players obviously turned against him for the exact same reason. So. How can anyone have any kind of hope that Mourinho will turn this around or blame everyone but Mourinho? You know those fanboys that have those Mourinho fan accounts on Twitter.
Yeah, like
disease in my opinion.
All those profile pictures of Jose and
it's ridiculous.
That would just find any way to blame the players and just deflect any criticism coming his way. Like, yes, the players are to blame a lot of the times, especially on Sunday, but. He just doesn't help himself. And all the things that Jose was known for, that he was good for. I just feel that he's just going outside right now. Like, all the things he was known for, winning big games, setting up teams to be really difficult to beat. We look vulnerable. Brighton, that performance get Brighton away, it just sums up our season.
From both games against Brighton, the performances were poor, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just very outmoded. His time is done. He's not a top level manager. He's definitely not a top level manager anymore. And to be honest, I don't think he's a Premier League level manager. I don't think he can manage this generation of players anymore. I genuinely believe his methods and his way of speaking, and it doesn't work with players of this age group anymore. It's done.
And like, as much as I say like players have to take responsibility, there is a massive part of me that honestly does believe a different manager can get a better tune out of this group of players than he can. I honestly believe it.
But I feel like Jack said at the start, there's problems from top to bottom, board, manager, players. Until there's almost a complete revamp, then a new manager might come in, or you'll get a little manager bounce, might win a couple games. Then it's the same players. The players are gonna cause issues again. But then you're getting new players. You're getting the players that Jose wants, and then we're gonna play even more Jose football. We ain't going nowhere with that. So,
here's another big thing. Yeah, here's another big thing, and I know I wouldn't. Are you gonna try? Let's say Jose has money to spend from a player sale. I would not try. I look at his signings for Man United. Dalot, for example, yeah, I would not trust him with a budget, with a decent budget to go and sign decent players. I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust the club either.
Yeah, bro, he just wants to buy them old players that he thinks can.
Matic.
No, I don't want these, man.
Yeah.
Like,
you can't trust him with his transfer window. Honestly,
do you know what? Here's my view of it. Yeah, the only saving grace right now. Look, I think for the next 5 years they're going to be very difficult. Yeah, the only saving grace that we can have right now is this stadium. Yeah, it's a cash cow. So it is a cash cow. Yeah, it's going to generate money. The only saving grace we've got right now is that in the next 5 years, once this COVID stuff is over and stadiums full, that we can get a lot of money generated from not only just non-footballing events like boxing, concerts, whatever it is, but like sponsorships, commercial deals, stadium naming rights. How have we still not got a naming rights deal for our stadium?
With all of that, bro, I've been on my knees for Amazon to buy us.
But it's not even about Amazon buying us. It's about, in the next 5 years, we're obviously going to get all this money generated from all these other things.
Going into the team. It's not going into the team.
If this doesn't go in the team,
it won't.
Then there's a big problem.
There's no way it will. It's going to go into paying back loans for the stadium or whatnot. It's going to go into Levy buying more properties, Joe Lewis buying a new yacht. That's where the money's going to go. There's no way it's going into new players. And see, like the real boy Wonder here is saying, talking about, Poch returns at the end of the season. I love Poch. He was like a stepdad to me for them 5 years. But he's not even doing that well at PSG. I'm seeing man lost 2-1 the other day. Is Poch what we need to come back now? I love him, like I said, but I don't want him to come back now at the end of the season. We're not really, bro. Players need to go.
You don't want him to come in this. You don't want him to come in this down situation.
I don't. I'm sorry, innit? I don't want him coming back anytime soon. Go stay at PSG for at least 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is. Maybe go on to another club after that, and then maybe I'll consider it. But yeah, I'm not sure about that, about Poch personally.
The thing is, no, like you said earlier, there will be managers that will get a better tune out of our attacking players because we do, believe it or not, we do have talent there. But I can't see any manager actually getting us to where we want because we're not gonna get the profile of players that we need to back that manager to fit that manager system. Say a Nagelsmann, for example, comes in. Who are we gonna sign to facilitate him?
Do you know what my problem with Nagelsmann is? Yeah, great style of football, great philosophy. I love it. Right, Leipzig, solid team. Yeah, no one can deny that. But my problem is you look at the business, you look at the way the club is structured. Nagelsmann has no say in transfers. He is a coach. He literally, you look at the way that they are as a club. Yeah, they bring players in from cheap, from like Austrian leagues or wherever they buy them from. They bring them in for cheap. They sell them off for 40, 50, 45, 55 mil. Yeah, Nagelsmann is a yes man. He has no say on who comes in or who goes out. If he comes in, yeah, he's going to be a puppet to Levy. Levy's going to throw him shit like Bergwijn and flipping Stambouli, and he's going to expect results.
The Leipzig, they have Paul Mitchell. That's the thing. They've got that recruitment system in place that can facilitate Nagelsmann's style of play. I'm actually more impressed with Nagelsmann's Hoffenheim spell. What he did there, that was like amazing. Mm-hmm. He's just continuing on from sort of Hasenhüttl's work at Leipzig, but and the football they play is great, but again, he's not adaptable. That's the problem with him. I want adaptable I want an adaptable manager who will look at the opponent a lot sometimes in big games or in particular games where he makes those slight tinkers that can help win the game. Nagelsmann is just stubborn. He will play the same way regardless.
Yeah. It's the same as Poch. He's a plan A. He's a plan A guy. There's no plan B with Nagelsmann. And if you can't improve defenders like Upamecano, then I think he would improve this team. But you'll see in big moments the same thing will happen again and again and again.
I think Poch was much more adaptable than people think, though. There were games where I think the best example is Dortmund in the season in the run up to the final, where we were 3-0 up and he was like, park that bus. And Lloris and Vertonghen had like
Bro, but Tony had a blind at that game.
Absolute mad.
But when he scored and got an assist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, in the second leg, he was our best defender. Lloris had a sensational game because he was getting peppered. But
long have those days gone, man. Since Lloris pulling.
He's much more like people say. Jose is the most adaptable manager in the world. So,
I don't think he is at all, especially not anymore.
He plays the same way every game. I think Poch has been more adaptable in his time with Spurs than Jose has with us.
Yeah, I agree.
But people have agendas, you know.
Thing is, there's so much issues at the club right now. We could, talk about this for hours. Probably a good time to preview. What we got? Villa next, and then Zagreb.
Zagreb first day.
Villa next in the league. I mean, the Zagreb game. Sure, I'm expecting a professional performance. The tie is basically already wrapped up.
I mean, we know he's going to.
He'll start Kane. Son's injured, but he'll probably start Kane again.
He's going to start Kane. Kane's going to start that game. Kane is going to start.
Their manager's going to be in a jail cell by then, so we have no excuse to not.
I said he's managing off his ankle.
You know what? I can see it now, innit? The first ever team whose manager wins a game from coaching a team from jail. Zagreb. Oh my God! Listen,
I can see us losing 1-0 and it being like scrappy late on.
Do you know what I know?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
You know, in the first game against Zagreb, some of their midfielders can play football. I was watching them thinking, if you guys actually tried to control this game, I reckon they could have done it because they had some very techie midfielders, very quick on the ball, one touch, two touch, bang, bang, like. And I just don't think they turned up properly. I think we'll see a completely different Zagreb on Thursday.
They played with an intensity that I think at times we struggled against that, in moments, but overall we had control of the game. But listen, at the end of the day, it was down to quality. And if they play with that same level of intensity and we have our regular brain farts that we normally do, it could get sticky. And
the thing is, all it takes is one goal from them. If they get a goal early first half, it's game on. Even second half, it's game on.
We'll panic. We'll definitely panic. We don't have the mentality to cope with that, to be honest.
And this is another problem with the mentality. Like when we beat Crystal Palace 4-1, I thought it was alarm. It was so alarming that Jose came out and said he was kind of glad that we conceded. Because I'm sat here thinking, so you're saying that the mentality of the players is that they need to concede a goal for them to fire up. That means that there is something seriously wrong with the mentality of the players and the coaching staff. Because if you're sitting there saying it takes a goal for these players to get a kick up their ass, then that's not acceptable at this level. It's really not acceptable.
Yeah, and
why can't we have the initiative that when we score a goal, we're now in control of this game. Let's go and box it off. We used to do it under Poch. We get one as soon as I remember under Poch, it was early nerves. It was the first goal, and then it would come sometimes two, sometimes three. Yeah, it should not take a goal for you to concede a goal to start performing. Shocking.
And that's being reactive, not proactive. That stems from the top. That stems from the top. Our owners.
That's facts. It stems from the top. That mentality stems from the top. And the things that we would associate Jose with is that mentality. Is having such a strong mentality. And he's come here, and like I said, he's going outside, man. He's going outside.
Yeah. And it was a buzzword that was used in that documentary. He kept saying the word mentality was used probably the most.
It seemed like the whole show was just a PR thing.
Yeah,
it was.
And but for Levy as well.
It was for Levy, innit? Like that was his documentary. Like,
but touching on this comment,
you might as well call it all, huh? So you might as well call that documentary Levy or nothing. That's what that was.
Nothing or nothing. But no, I don't think there's no way that Vinicius is signing at the end of the season. Jose's not played him, and there's no way he's signing. So I don't know why. Yeah, I feel like a man like Levy would be able to get that down, but he's not really been given the opportunity in bigger games. When he started in the Europa League, he's done relatively well. He scored the goals, he's got assists, but for whatever reason, Jose doesn't rate him. And
my opinion on Vinicius, I really like him, but I just don't think he's at that level. Like he looks like it's no surprise that he's only just been converted to a striker. I think 2 years ago, was he playing centre back or centre mid? He wasn't a striker. And like when you look at him, he does certain things, like he doesn't run when he should run. He does certain things that it makes you think that this guy's he hasn't played. He's either not a good striker or he hasn't. For me, it's clearly evident that he hasn't been a striker for long. He hasn't had that time, that coaching to develop. I think he will develop. I would not be spending 45 million on him right now. No.
Yeah, he just seems like a poacher, just like a little bit of hold-up play in the box, but he only plays in the box.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Look, when Jose had Lukaku, literally, they're because of their stature and size, Jose just presumes that they can play the type of role he wants them to. The hold-up player, the target man, chest it on the ball, keep it down, whatever you flick it on. They're not that type. Neither of those strikers are that type of player. They're poachers, like you said. They literally want to run in behind, stay in the box, and they're good finishers. They are like Vinicius is a good finisher.
Yeah, like it was the same with Lukaku. Lukaku is, and you know what I noticed about him second season? Yeah, I thought that he just. I don't know if it was muscle or fat. He just got a lot bigger and a lot less mobile. Yeah, second season was terrible because he was having to almost play a holding role, like holding up the ball. That is not how you get the best of Lukaku, right? We saw it with his touches, and you see him now. He's gone to Inter and he's slapping in goals. He looks in great shape. Yeah. Like
he's got that mentality as well. This guy he'll mess up in the game, but he'll always come back. Like,
he'll do something dumb, make everyone laugh, and then he'll slap in a goal.
Yeah. And like Tanya's saying, we could be in a situation at the end of the season where we're left with one striker again, or maybe no strikers if Kane leaves. So,
and like I said, for me against Zagreb, I don't know about you guys, but I would probably start Aurier. We need to forget about Doherty now. I'd start Sanchez. I'd start Toby. I'd probably start Ben Davies, but I'd have Bergwijn. I'd start Lucas. I think Lucas we need some kind of flair in that team. So I'd have Lucas, Lamela, and Vinicius. I'm not starting Kane in that game unless we need to bring him on.
If Bergwijn starts, he's gonna have to start on the left. That is his position. As
much as Bergwijn starts, he's gonna have to score.
Yeah, he's gonna have to do a lot.
Do you know what? I want him to score in it. He needs it more than anything else. Like,
he does.
16 games, no goals. It's like, I'm not a stats guy in it, but for a winger, for a forward,
rubbish.
You need to be giving me something. Yeah. So if we box that game, then it's a tough game. Yeah. Obviously, they're trying to say that Jack Grealish is going to come, and they're trying to get him back.
I'm not looking.
My thoughts on that is, I'm not thinking like. I feel that Villa are the club that will rush him back from injury because they're so over-reliant on him. I've watched their last 3 games. They look absolutely terrible without Jack Grealish. So same lineup that we had for Burnley, yeah. Aurier back in, same back line, same midfield. Lucas is a 10. And it's going to have to be... Would you have Lamela on the left? So would you have Lamela and Bergwijn, or put Lucas on the wing and then bring in Lo Celso as a 10?
If Lo Celso is not fit, I reckon whoever plays better on Thursday out of Lamela or Bergwijn gets that spot.
Yeah, I see that. I think maybe ease, if Lo Celso is fit, ease him back in. Don't put him back in at deep end sort of thing. Just ease him back into it, and then once he gets match fit, like fully match fit, we can keep him going for the rest of the season. But that's it.
And I mean, that game against Arsenal has killed any sort of hope, any sort of belief I had in top 4. So I think we just got to just take each game as it comes and just try win, and then see where we are. Like, I've come to the point where I'm not even looking at the table now. I'm just looking at
top 4's done. And I think that League Cup final is a myth. And the Europa League run, we haven't played anyone. We haven't played anyone, and we've still lost against Antwerp and drew against Lask. So we've got plenty of those performances like yesterday in us. We've got plenty of those in us, and I can see that definitely happening in the Europa. in the next round if we even get through. But yeah, we've got so many of those performances left in us. It's not going to end well this season. Yeah, I can't personally. It's gonna have to be Mourinho done by the end of the season.
What's your minimum? Yeah, what's your minimum expectations now for the season?
Sixth and quarterfinal Europa exit.
Mine, yeah. Do you know what? Mine's the same. Like, obviously, I want a trophy. I don't think we're gonna. I think our best chance of a trophy is Europa League. Forget the League Cup. Obviously, anything can happen in football, but I'm not. I think Europa. But my minimum expectations. I don't expect. I think quarters or semis in Europa, and finishing in the top 6. Either 5th or 6th. We have to get some kind of European football next season. What about you, Kallum?
Yeah, I reckon top 6 finish, Europa League semi-final, I must say, even though I think that's the trophy we've got the most chance with. But obviously, I know we need Europa League football next season for the little cash injection and whatnot.
We have to get it.
I can't sit through no qualifiers again on Thursdays at 8 p.m. playing teams you ain't never heard of, not even in the competition yet. Can't sit.
I swear, let's also bang 4 goals in one of those games. I swear. In the qualifiers, he did.
You got 2 hat-trick or something. But yeah, no, it's not looking hopeful for us right now. No.
And then what are you saying, Summer? In, out, Jose?
I remember I said earlier, we need to give him to the end of the season, see what he can do in the Europa League. And I think you said that even if he wins the Europa League, you want him out. And I said,
yeah, for me, like my mind right now is set in stone. Trophy or no trophy, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. And initially, I was against that. I said, no, if he wins us a trophy, then we can build on that. If he wins us that trophy, he's still got a goal for me. I can't be watching this football. I don't trust his man management no more. I don't trust his substitutions, his changes. He has to go at the end of the season either way for me.
And it's not just his management, it's his judgment on players that, thank you very much. Cut ties, thank you.
Yeah.
United fans warned us. The United fans warned us.
You know, my boy was telling me the other day, he was like, Ash, I warned you. And at the time, I was like, I didn't want to listen to it, innit? I was like, we've got Jose. I can't lie to you. I was excited when we first got him.
Yeah. No, I mean, we always, to some extent, innit, proven winner. We need trophies. We thought he was the man to do that. I mean, we'll see, but no.
I didn't think. I thought he was an awful fit for the club. I knew he was going to have issues with the board. He always does at every club, apart from Inter and Porto. Whenever there's a slight issue, that's it. He gets rattled, and this is like a match made in hell.
And he strikes me as a guy that can't learn to kind of work on things. It's like if he doesn't get his way, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And like you know one thing that does make me think a lot, is when he said in the interview there's problems at this club that he himself as a coach cannot resolve. What do you guys think that is? Do you think that is the shit players that he's got, or it's the board?
Could be either, to be fair.
Yeah, I think it's both.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
It's mad though, because it just screams to me. He saw Kane and Son, and he thought his eyes there. I can work with this. Yeah. And now he's like I don't know if you watched The Crown, but he's like Winston Churchill when everyone wanted him out, everyone because he was too old, his methods were too outdated to run the country and what have you. He's not getting on with the sort of younger sort of generation of the people in the country. That's what he's like. He doesn't know that he's done. He doesn't know when to stop, when he's finished. He took this job because he's getting £15 million a year. He's finally at home. He doesn't have to live in a hotel on the weekends, and he's living it easy. He's in his favorite city.
He wanted to stay in London, innit? That's what it is.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. Yeah, of course.
That's what it is. He probably would have taken a West Ham job if it was available.
This is probably his next step.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a good place to wrap it up, though. Jack, love for coming on. Kallum, pleasure as always, man. Guys. So like and subscribe to Never a Foul. We'll be back next Monday after the Villa game. So you just gotta pray for the win. But yeah, guys, thank you, and we'll see you next Monday. Jack, take care, man. Kallum, take care. See you guys later.